Their ship hit the sun. I'm the only one who knows they're still alive. Emma pressed her forehead against the curved window of Haven Station's observation deck, letting the sun's warmth seep into her skin. At this distance, the massive star filled most of the view, its surface churning with constant activity. Most people found graveyard shift monitoring mind-numbing, but Emma loved these quiet moments. Just her, the sun, and her useless equipment. Her tablet chimed, another anomalous reading. She'd been getting them for weeks now, strange patterns in the corona that nobody else seemed to notice. The other technicians blamed it on her experimental consciousness mapping software, the same work that had made her the laughingstock of the scientific community 6 months ago. 6 months, the same time since the Helios disappeared. Emma pulled up the latest scan, expecting another false positive, but this time was different. The pattern wasn't random, it pulsed with the steady rhythm of a human heartbeat. Her hands shaking, she adjusted the frequency. The signal cleared, resolving into something that shouldn't be possible. Neural patterns, human brainwave signatures scattered through the sun's outer layers like stars in a galaxy. "Hello," she whispered, activating her comm system. "This is Haven Station. Is anyone there?" Static crackled through her headset, then impossibly a voice. Emma, right, I remember you from the conference. You presented on consciousness mapping." The voice was distorted like someone speaking through waves of heat, but undeniably human. Male, familiar. "Who is this?" Emma's heart raced. Benjamin Cole, Helios pilot. We're still here, Emma, all of us, but I don't know how much longer I can hold everyone together." Emma's equipment lit up, displaying 11 distinct energy signatures swirling through the corona. 11. The exact number of Helios crew members. "Hold everyone together. Ben, what happened? They said you crashed." "Not crashed, sabotaged." His voice faded like a dying radio signal. "They wanted our research gone, but the sun saved us, changed us. I can feel them all, Emma, the crew, their minds, but they're starting to drift, to fade. You're the only one with the technology to see us, to hear us." A warning flashed on Emma's screen. Solar flare approaching. "Ben, I'm losing you." "Find Dr. Evans' files, the ones they didn't want public. They'll prove." Static overwhelmed his voice. "Emma, please, before we dissolve completely. Before we forget we were ever human at all." The signal died as the flare washed over the station. Emma sat in the sudden silence, staring at her readings. She had just spoken to a dead man. A dead man whose consciousness was somehow surviving inside the sun itself. Her tablet pinged with an incoming message from Central. Anomalous readings detected. Maintain standard observation protocols. Do not deviate, they knew. They had to know. Emma looked at her consciousness mapping equipment, the work everyone had mocked. Now it might be the only thing standing between 11 lost souls and true death. She began typing, her fingers flying over the holographic keys. "Urgent request access to Helios research, FILESRE. Dr. EVANS solar matter conversion studies." She hesitated for just a moment before hitting send. There would be no going back after this. Either she was crazy or she had just stumbled into something much bigger than herself. The sun flared again, and for a moment Emma swore she could see patterns in the fire, patterns that looked almost like faces, calling out for help. The response from Central came faster than Emma expected. Too fast. Access DNID security clearance insufficient, return to standard monitoring protocols, all previous readings classified, delete immediately. Emma's fingers hovered over her console. Delete the only proof that 11 people were still alive. She started copying the data to her personal drive instead, heart pounding as the progress bar crept forward. A shadow fell across her workstation. "Working late, right?" Emma managed not to jump at Director Miller's voice. She kept her expression neutral as she turned to face him, thankful for the darkness of the observation deck that hid her screen. "Just following up on some unusual readings, sir." His smile didn't reach his eyes. "Anything worth reporting?" "Solar flare activity, normal variance." The lie tasted bitter. Behind her, the data transfer reached 89%. "Good, though I heard you attempted to access restricted files." He leaned against her console, still chasing those consciousness mapping theories. 95%, just being thorough, sir." "Admirable, but let's not waste resources on impossible theories." He straightened his jacket. The Helios tragedy was thoroughly investigated, best not to reopen old wounds. Complete, Emma resisted the urge to exhale in relief. Of course, sir. After he left, Emma's hands were shaking so badly she could barely type. She pulled up the copied data, scanning through the neural patterns. They were already different from an hour ago, weaker, more scattered. Ben was right. They were fading, her calm crackled. Ma. Ben, she whispered, glancing at the door. I'm here. Hard to hold on the others, drifting. His voice sounded thinner, stretched. Sarah Evans, she knew, the sun, not just energy. It's alive, conscious, that's why, saved us. How do I help you? How do I bring you back? Evans' lab, Haven, sublevel 3, her real work, hidden there, but Emma, static, consumed his words for a moment. They're watching. They'll stop anyone who knows. A new message flashed on her screen. Station diagnostic initiating all systems, shutting down 4 maintenance time to completion. 30 minutes. No, no, no. Emma's fingers flew across the keys, but nothing responded. They were cutting her off. Ben, stay with me. Find us. His voice faded into nothing as her equipment went dark. Emma sat in the darkness, watching the sun through the observation window. Somewhere in that swirling fire were 11 souls counting on her. And down in sublevel 3, if Ben was right, were the answers she needed. But Director Miller's warning was clear. They were watching, waiting. Emma stood, straightening her uniform. Fine, let them watch. She'd been labeled crazy for believing consciousness could exist beyond the body. Been mocked for her theories about solar energy's connection to human awareness. She had nothing left to lose, and 11 people trapped in the sun had everything to gain. Emma headed for the door. Sublevel 3 was restricted to senior personnel only, but she had something they didn't. The desperate determination of someone who knew she wasn't crazy after all. The service corridors of Haven Station were eerily quiet during night shift. Emma's footsteps echoed against metal walls as she made her way down, level by level. Her stolen security card, borrowed from a careless senior tech who'd left it in the break room, felt like it was burning a hole in her pocket. The deeper she went, the older the station felt. By sublevel 2, the pristine white walls gave way to industrial gray, and the air carried a metallic tang. Few people came down this far, fewer still had reason to. Her tablet vibrated. Another message from Central. Unauthorized access detected, security TAMS dispatched, remain at your station. Emma quickened her pace. They knew. The entrance to sublevel 3 loomed ahead, a heavy door with actual physical locks alongside the electronic ones. Emma swiped the stolen card, holding her breath. Red light, access denied. Come on, she tried again. Red light, a familiar warmth spread through her fingers, and she looked down to see her hand glowing faintly orange. The same color as the solar flares. What the? The security panel sparked. Green light, the door slid open. Emma stared at her still glowing hand. Ben's words echoed in her mind. The sun, it's alive, conscious. Was it helping her? The sublevel was a maze of abandoned labs. Emergency lights cast everything in a dull red glow, making the shadows deeper, darker. Her tablet's screen flickered with interference. Something down here was putting out serious electromagnetic energy. She found Dr. Evans' lab at the end of the corridor. Unlike the others, this door was sealed with warning labels. Contamination risk, authorized personnel, only solar radiation hazard. Emma's hand tingled again. This time she was ready. She pressed her palm against the security panel and warmth flooded through her arm. The door clicked open. Inside, the lab was a time capsule. Coffee cups still sat on desks, screens still displayed data from the day it was abandoned. And in the center, oh my God! A containment chamber dominated the room, filled with swirling golden light. Solar plasma, actual captured solar matter, somehow still active after all this time. And suspended within it, barely visible through the glow, was what looked like a human handprint pressed against the glass. Emma's tablet suddenly came to life, files opening on their own. Project Sunrise lead researcher. Dr. Sarah Evans status, terminated. They didn't just want the research gone, Emma whispered. They wanted her gone too. Correct. Emma spun around. Director Miller stood in the doorway, flanked by security officers. His smile was gone. I had such hopes you'd be smarter than Evans, Emma, that you'd learn to stay away from questions with dangerous answers. Emma backed toward the containment chamber. The golden light inside pulsed brighter, almost like a heartbeat. They're alive, she said. The Helios crew, Dr. Evans, you murdered them, but the sun saved them. No one's murdering anyone. Miller stepped forward. We're protecting humanity, what Evans discovered, what that thing in the sun really is. Some truths should stay buried. The light behind Emma flared. She felt warmth spread across her back, heard whispers that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. Emma, together. Miller's eyes widened. Take her down. Now. The security officers rushed forward, but Emma felt strangely calm. The warmth from the containment chamber wrapped around her like an embrace, and suddenly she understood what Dr. Evans had discovered. What Ben had been trying to tell her. The sun wasn't just conscious, it was reaching out. Emma pressed her hand against the chamber's glass, matching her palm to the ancient handprint within. Golden light surged up her arm, through her chest, behind her eyes. The world shifted, transformed. She could see them now, all of them. The Helios crew, their consciousness dancing through the solar winds. Dr. Evans, her mind still brilliant after all these years. And Ben, burning brightest of all, holding them together through sheer will. No, Miller shouted, contain her. But he was too late. Emma felt the solar plasma respond to her thoughts, just as it had with the security panels. The containment chamber hummed, its glass barrier dissolving into pure energy. Golden light flooded the room. The sun isn't your enemy, Emma said, her voice resonating with others behind it. It's been trying to communicate, to connect. Dr. Evans proved it. Human consciousness can interface directly with solar energy. We could have learned so much. We could have been destroyed, Miller snarled. One wrong move, one miscalculation, and solar consciousness could have overwhelmed humanity's minds completely. Evans wasn't conducting research. She was opening a door that could never be closed. The security officers backed away as tendrils of golden light curled around Emma. She could feel Ben's presence strongest now, supporting her, showing her how to control the energy flow. You're wrong, Emma said. The sun doesn't want to overwhelm us. It saved them, preserved them, and now. She raised her hands and the solar plasma responded. 11 distinct streams of golden light swirled through the air, each carrying a consciousness, a soul. As Emma watched, the energy began to condense, to take shape. Human forms emerged from the light, translucent at first, then solid. The Helios crew, reformed through the same process that had saved them. Ben materialized last, his eyes meeting Emma's with a mix of gratitude and awe. Impossible, Miller whispered. No, Ben said, his voice rough from months of disuse. What's impossible is thinking you could hide the truth forever. Emma swayed, the energy drain hitting her all at once. Ben caught her before she could fall, his touch sending tingles of warmth through her skin. Security, arrest them, Miller commanded, but the officers stood frozen, staring at the impossible scene before them. I wouldn't, Dr. Evans said, stepping forward. Her form still shimmered with traces of solar light. Unless you want every station in the solar system to receive my complete research files. Dead woman's switch, did you really think I wouldn't have a backup plan? Miller's face went pale. Around them, the golden light began to fade, but Emma could still feel it, a warm connection to something vast and ancient and wonderfully, impossibly alive. What happens now? She whispered to Ben. He smiled, squeezing her hand. Now we show humanity what the sun's been trying to tell us all along. Above them, through layers of metal and stone, their star pulsed with ancient light, waiting, ready to share its mysteries with anyone brave enough to reach back. The next few hours passed in a blur of activity. Station security arrived, then senior staff, then what seemed like half of Haven's population, all drawn by rumors of impossible lights in the sublevel. Emma stayed close to Ben, both supporting each other as chaos erupted around them. Dr. Evans took command of the situation with the authority of someone who'd had 6 years to plan this moment. Her research files went public within hours, undeniable proof of solar consciousness and its attempted communication with humanity. The feeds exploded with the news, and Haven Station became the center of a storm that would reshape human understanding of their own star. But Emma barely noticed any of it. She was too focused on the way Ben's hand hadn't left hers, how his presence felt like sunlight against her skin. You should rest, he said softly, leading her away from the crowd gathering around Dr. Evans. What you did, bringing us back, it took a lot of energy. They found a quiet spot in the observation deck, the same place where she'd first heard his voice. The sun filled the window, but Emma saw it differently now. Not just a star, but a presence, aware and watching. I can still feel it, she admitted, looking at her hands. Traces of golden light still flickered beneath her skin. The connection. Like the sun left a piece of itself inside me. It did, Ben's voice was gentle. In all of us, we're changed, Emma, not just the crew, but you too now, the sun. It doesn't just want to communicate, it wants to share, to teach. Everything Dr. Evans theorized about solar consciousness was just the beginning. Emma turned to face him. Is that why you feel familiar, like I've known you longer than just today? The sun held us, but you brought us back. His fingers traced patterns of warmth on her palm. While we were in there, scattered but aware, I felt your mind reaching out. Your consciousness mapping theories weren't just right, they were barely scratching the surface of what's possible. A comfortable silence fell between them, filled with unspoken understanding. Through the window, a solar flare arced gracefully across the star's surface, and Emma felt its echo ripple through her chest. They'll want to study us, she said finally, all of us. The first humans to truly connect with solar consciousness. Let them study, Ben smiled, and Emma saw traces of golden light dance in his eyes. But first, I think I owe you a proper thank you for saving my life. Dinner. Though I warn you, I'm 6 months behind on current events. Emma laughed, feeling lighter than she had in years. Dinner sounds perfect, and Ben, she squeezed his hand, thank you for helping me prove I wasn't crazy. Thank you for hearing me when no one else could. Above them, the sun pulsed with ancient light. But now its presence felt less like a distant star and more like an old friend, watching over its children as they took their first steps into a new dawn. Later, there would be questions to answer, mysteries to unravel, and a whole new chapter of human history to write. But for now, Emma was content to stand in comfortable silence with Ben, their joined hands glowing softly with remembered starfire, as humanity's oldest companion continued its eternal dance through space. Not just a star anymore, but a bridge between what humanity was and what it could become. And thanks to one woman who dared to listen to impossible voices in the night, that bridge was finally open to all who were brave enough to cross it. 2 weeks after the Haven Station incident, Emma stood before the World Science Council, Ben at her side. Dr. Evans had just finished presenting her recovered research, leaving the chamber in stunned silence. And you're certain, one of the council members asked. The sun is, attempting to share more information. We're certain, Emma said, holding up her hand. Golden light still danced beneath her skin, stronger now than ever. Around the room, sensors flickered with electromagnetic interference. What happened at Haven was just the beginning. Director Miller sat in custody nearby, his face ashen. The investigation into the Helios accident had uncovered more than just his involvement. There was an entire network dedicated to suppressing solar consciousness research, spanning multiple corporations and governments. But that wasn't what worried Emma. She exchanged glances with Ben and Dr. Evans. They hadn't told the council everything, not about the other signals they'd begun detecting, not about the patterns emerging in solar flares across the system, and especially not about the message they'd received last night, burning itself into their shared consciousness. Others coming, prepare, you are not alone. Ben squeezed her hand as the council continued their questions. Through the chamber's windows, the sun pulsed with urgent light. Something was coming. Something that had made humanity's star break its ancient silence, and they had to be ready.